What did I think I was doing? Why?
I love this.
Good evening, Diamondz. My name is Sic'Nis, which is an acronym that stands for Succeed in Impossible Circumstances Needs Intellectual Strength. But I do know you know this already. And we are now into to episode 21 of Inhale with Sic'Nis. Episode 21. It's amazing that we're here. And what's also amazing is, guys, raise a glass with me. Guys, I am finished. It's done. It's over. 3 years, all finished. I am super, 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 super proud of myself. Final assignments are in and we are just awaiting a grading and certification Diamondz. Of course, as always, right on cue on the morning of my solo recital, my 45-minute performance, imposter syndrome showed up in all its glory. Dissertation day, the performance. You know when imposter syndrome just shows up? Why? I'm not even questioning why, because I know imposter syndrome is just doing what imposter syndrome is just doing its job. So I've got to be on job. So I'm telling myself, Bill, this is where you thrive. This is where you come alive. Can't believe I'm talking to camera. And even though I have all this
I just want
prior to
to make music, choose make it so step two to the losing. Get up on the highway, cruising, top down, blasting the sounds.
and post,
It's booming, temptations, BB crooning, young, free and single, independent woman.
those video recordings and those pictures, I was literally in bits.
Fresh air, freedom, honing on the goals on the horizon.
Why the hell did I think I could do this, as we've spoken about? Well, I picked it up and I kept it pushing, guys, and I came off stage feeling like I had did everything I could and everything that was needed to gain the grade that I have got my heart set on. And Diamondz, it is now actually time for a word from our sponsors. I have not memorized this, guys, so bear with me. I will read it. Avbright Enterprises' mission is to help facilitate one's vision and create a broader perspective. With specific insight and knowledge of music, entertainment, and the arts, we look to manage, cultivate, and guide the client to success based on their own individual needs. So that's Avbright Enterprises. Check them out on the link on screen. And thank you so much for sponsoring this week's episode of Inhale with Sic'Nis. I am grateful for the support Avbright Enterprises has provided for me. They have opened me up to a different market. So get in contact with them for further information. For brand endorsements, sponsorships, interviews, etc., do email the address on screen. Yeah, that's right, B. Assist got sponsors. So guys, let's get into the vibe of the week.
Relax.
God to me, anytime I was freaking out, and believe you me, the freak outs ensued very regularly whilst I was embarking upon this whole journey. It hasn't been easy being the oldest one in my class. For a start, came with its own unique set of challenges. But also the growth and the expansion that occurred throughout the period of study. And that is not, I'm not talking about what I'm being graded and certificated on. I'm talking about internally, mentally, because, you know, we've discussed this on the platform before, guys. The real glow up is internal. We know this. So if there is one word I can use to describe this whole process, that would be stretched. Physically, mentally, emotionally, financially, everly stretched in every single sense of the word, Diamondz. And this is not going to be a video where I'm preaching or extolling the virtues. This is literally about tools for expansion and recognizing some of the thought processes, my own internal thought processes that were hindering my own progress. And I just thought I'd share some of my enlightenment. So a pivotal moment for me occurred when my lecturer said, "Why do you feel like this?" in pertaining to some discussion that we were having about one of my assignments. And as simple as the question seemed, it made me realize that I have a tendency to only focus on what I may have perceived have gone wrong, or the elements that didn't go to plan. So just because things haven't gone entirely the way that you planned them, that doesn't necessarily deem the event, the circumstance, a failure. When things don't go to plan, they often turn out much better than you could have planned for, because what is the saying? Man plans, God laughs. And then it dawned on me, and I realised that I wasn't paying enough attention to the positive aspects of my life. That this goes far beyond the assignment, guys. It was like deeply profound. I realized that far from accentuating the positives as my lecturer had suggested, I was stuck dwelling on mistakes that I had made in the past, beating myself up for choices I'd made. And I'm not talking about in my near past, or, you know, I'm talking about things that were deep rooted for a while. And then that leads to the thinking of, why do you feel like this? Because you've manifested some absolutely amazing things in your life that you can only ever dream of. The assignments that you submit, you are acing them. You know, you've raised the superstar. He's doing absolutely amazing in his life. So why do you feel like this? And I had to really unpack that, because I'm determined not to move forward with any baggage from the past, baggage that doesn't serve me. You know, certain things just do not serve any purpose. I am not moving forward with them beyond this point. The point I'm trying to make, Diamondz, is we cannot allow ourselves to be held bondage to a former version of ourselves. Whether that's us holding ourselves in bondage, or whether we're allowing other people. We have to start looking for outside approval. I know for me, it played out in terms of seeking approval from certain of my elders on one side of my family. It was like, that has literally spilled out into me being such a high achiever, however feeling like a failure. For example, what I was saying in last week's episode, and I'll put the link up there. When I had decided I am taking this opportunity to go on this experience, take the stage and share the mic with legends, these certain elders, they don't get it. Like, why are you not on a private jet? And this is not because of, you know, extreme admiration for me. This is just to like kind of over my whole experience. Hence why I haven't shared much of those journeys, etc., because they are far too precious just to let anybody willy-nilly with their small-mindedness bring me down. It's not happening. Some people wouldn't understand that. They have never stretched themselves. They love their comfort zone. Me, however, I value the experience. People would love for me to have a bad word to say about the woo. I have nothing bad to say. I will never have anything bad to say about any of those brothers. I love them and I value, treasure, even. You don't understand the courage it takes to go for your dreams like wholeheartedly, because they have never had the courage to do that themselves. And quite like imposter syndrome shows up to do what imposter syndrome does, that's what they do. And the sooner you reframe your mind from focusing or seeking their approval or trying to prove them wrong, the happier and the quicker things will start to move for you and come together for you. I was stretched so far out of my comfort zone, and in that I realised that, quite frankly, I had been not only selling myself short, I had set the bar pretty low in everything. I was in no way doing myself justice for the skill set that I already had and the skill set that I was beginning to attain. And this is all down to the people you have in your ear. You have to be very careful about the seeds you allow to ferment, because some people aren't happy for you. Do you know what I mean? And this whole process over the past 3 years, that's why I chose the word stretched, because I have realised certain things about myself, let go of certain thoughts about myself, and I am embracing who I actually am, and I absolutely love it. It's amazing. So forgiving yourself is also of extreme importance, because if you haven't forgiven yourself for an old version of you, the older version of you, mistakes you may have made when you were younger, grieving, hurting, whatever the situation may be, if you haven't forgiven yourself and if you haven't moved beyond that, then you are also giving other people the permission to hold you in bondage. I mean, in the natural growth and evolution of life, we are not the same people that we were 5 years ago. And that's not to say our fundamental principles have changed, because our fundamental principles have always been our fundamental principles. It may just be that certain things are just not you anymore. Certain people are just not you anymore. And that is completely okay. And it's completely natural. And that's exactly how it should be. You only fail if you learn nothing. If you are still the same person that you are 10 years ago, then, you know, we've spoken about this before on this platform, Diamondz. We are all about the natural growth and evolution of a person. And you need people that are going to hold you accountable, but not throw back in your face. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, we need to be able to allow each other to grow and experience and walk our own journey. And on that note, let's just head into the thought of the day. This comes from Mr. Koa on Instagram and TikTok, and this just sums up everything right now.
If you're someone like me, you're continuously growing and evolving, which results in you having to wear many different hats. I did not attain all these skill sets just to minimize myself to make you feel comfortable. When someone asks you, so what do you do? Tell them everything. I do everything. All of it. I'm not here for small talk. So if you want to talk about what I do a lot. I do photography. I do videography. I do branding. The list goes on. I'm not going to do all that right now in this video, but anything and everything that you do, take pride in that. You did not work that hard just to shrink yourself for other people. We're done doing that. And this has nothing to do with being humble. This is you acknowledging the work you have put in and owning it. It's yours. Many of us have fallen into a trap where it feels like you talk about all the things you do, you're bragging. I'm not bragging. This is what I actually do. So when you ask me what I do, I'm gonna tell you everything. If you don't want to hear the whole list, don't ask me shit. If there's anything that you do this year, make sure it's unboxing yourself.
I had become so jaded that I'd started finding my own faults and blowing them up out of proportion, so much so that I wasn't celebrating my achievements. I've always been the kind of one and done, so I'll say it once and that's what it is. I'm not really a harper runner. However, not being a harper runner can shoot you in your foot at times. You have to be able to stand up and say, this is me, this is what I do, this is what I stand for, this is who I am. And I've always been that type of person. After surviving severe teen domestic violence, I really became that person and embodied it. However, that whole period of the one night and that isolation that I felt during that time, stretched. We come back to that word again, Diamondz, stretched. There are going to be times when you are going to most definitely have to speak up for yourself. Like, no, I'm sorry, this ain't going to fly. For example, in the second year, I was planning my whole third year dissertation that you just saw some clips of me rehearsing for backstage. However, that was me alone. The original plan that I had envisioned and drawn up and presented to my lecturers as this is what the deal is, that fell apart. And I had started with a band, and I'm not going to get into the logistics because this is not a people off session or anything like that, but things weren't going the way I needed them to flow in the time span that I needed them to flow in. So I had to literally speak up for myself, like, this ain't gonna fly, I'm not accepting this. And I did what I needed to do, and that in itself is just felt so empowering. And I aced my performance, so it is what it is. Like I've said in the song that's played, I Don't Care, I'll drop the link to it in the description if you want to listen to it at your leisure in its whole entire glory. It's about self-belief and confidence, and I had to develop that because being told that you're just going to be in the gutter, you're never going to amount to anything. Diamondz, I am an eternal optimist. I'm an eternal optimist, but I am also human. So there are times when I feel vulnerable, when I feel when I feel like and in those moments one thing that's really helped me is having the right people to vent to. Some people want you to remain broken. You are of no benefit to them walking and standing in your power. They cannot stand it. It literally crushes them to see you moving in your effervescent glory. So my vision is a lot clearer. I know exactly what I want and what I'm gonna do and where I'm going from here. It's a route I knew I would always take. However, it's solidified now. I know exactly how to move, where I'm going from here. I just wanted to share some of the things that I've learned in this whole journey of expansion, and maybe it can resonate with you, maybe it resonates with you, and maybe you can learn something from it. So there were times when I cried. What did I think I was doing? Why? And one moment, whilst crying, I actually heard myself saying to myself, look how far you've come from the first cry. Like, look how much you've learned from the first cry until now. So no, you might not be there yet, but you are more than 3/4 of the way. You are on your way. And that's what helped me stay focused on my goals. I had to get out of my own head. Although I love spending time in there, it's familiar, comfy, very knowledgeable, funny as. However, Dr. I am such a deep thinker that I can easily drift off. And then 6 hours later, I'm like, it forced me to get out of my head. Another thing I realized about myself was that I got a keen eye for detail. I already knew this, but I'm seeking out the errors thing, going back to the Belbin behavioral test that I did. The seeking out the errors thing isn't about other people, it's about myself. Like, I internalize everything. You cannot tell me my faults more than I can tell you my faults. I already know them, trust me. I've said in my songs I didn't have a strategy, but there are times when I needed one. Do you understand what I'm saying? So learning even more about myself has been exceptionally fulfilling. Throughout the 3 years, I won a scholarship a couple of scholarships with Santander universities, and one of them was Finance Unlocked. So it was Black inclusion, and it was learning about, you chose different modules to learn about in finance. So because I'd always convinced myself that I was at finance, I chose banking practices, private equity, ESG, which was environment, social governance, and covered fintech. I chose to continue learning and did blockchain, crypto and blockchain. I was one of 30 people chosen to win funding. One of 30, guys. And I've also, as mentioned in this episode here, and that is, guys, game changer. Those are not my words. I am not being like flippant and egotistical, and normally I would say facetious, but facetious is definitely not the right word for this. Guys, take a look at that. I'm just going to sit back. I actually need my tiara and my crown for this, because I need a drum roll. And everything that I have ever stood for, everything that I have ever spoken about in my songs, I still stand for. They still ring true. However, quite like many of us, this whole head up. So that's it, guys. It's been a journey, and I appreciate every single moment of the journey. And as I said, the expansion and the growth in terms of appreciation for myself, and that's not in an egotistical way, that is in a very rounded, thank you for all the messages and of congratulations and support, saluting me for completing my studies. I truly appreciate it. I will be stalking your stories. Remember what I told you in the A Minute of My Mind episode, which I will post up in one of these corners. Yes, you'll see my face regularly I've been literally just looking forward to actual sleep, uninterrupted sleep without the laptop next to me, and deep cleaning my house. Oh, wow. Oh, I am also looking forward to a all-inclusive 5-star luxury oceanfront villa in the Maldives. Now, let's manifest that together, shall we? Yes. So thank you so much, Diamondz, for tuning in once again. If you like the video and you've made it this far, do give it a like, subscribe to the channel and switch on notifications, and let me know in the comments what's your thoughts on this. How do you deal with imposter syndrome? How have you found your whole expansion process? Progression is everything. So until next week, peace, love, and Sic'Nis.
Self-belief and confidence in that. Get me?
It's more than 9 to 5, 24.